this is a building that I drove by for 4 years and just kept driving by it, just like a lot of old buildings in town I do. And then finally I got curious about it, and I talked to Barry, the gentleman that owns Marathon, and he said, a friend of mine owns that. So I ended up buying the building, and I bought the building basically sight unseen. And what I mean by that is this whole building was boarded up. So I never saw the inside of it until I closed on it. So I closed on it, and then I came over here with a hammer and I knocked a hole in the plywood and I pulled the piece of wood off, and I was just like, whoa. I mean, it was way worse than I thought it was going to be. When I actually got inside, I could see that the second story roof had caved in to the second story, and then the second story floor had caved into the ground floor. So from the outside of the building, you obviously couldn't see that. And the water heater was hanging by like an electrical cord, and there was water rushing down the staircase inside of the building. And that's when I really realized that there was nothing left of the building other than the walls that were holding it up, and they were barely holding it up. These buildings hold so much history. They're almost like, they're like people. They have personalities, and they've got their flaws like all of us. And, they've just got, you got to get to know them. And then once you get to know them, and then they understand that you respect them, then it seems like things go a little bit smoother. But yeah, when I walk into a building, I talk to it right away, and I explain. I'm like, hey, this is a journey we're going to take together. It's going to be a dance, and I'm game if you are. I'm game if you are. So the Gulch, which has been incredibly successful with office space, retail space, residential space, is all coming down to us. Now, when you go underneath that overpass and come up this way, one of the first things you see is this building. This is like where we planted our flag, this neighborhood, we planted our flag and said, hey, this is part of the fabric of the way Nashville used to be.